Hello and welcome to Talk It Out here on L15 Weekly, where we talk about the biggest issues in the football world. So it's a new series starting today, which should be Monday. Well, actually it's Sunday for me, but Monday for you guys. It's going to come hopefully every Monday if I can keep this sort of upload schedule going. We're going to talk about the biggest issues in the football world, and you guys can decide what we talk about. So it's going to be one specific issue per week, and you guys can go and you can talk in this comment section below about what we should talk about next week. So on this very maiden episode of Talk It Out, we're going to be talking about Lionel Messi. Where is he going to go? Is he going to stay at Barcelona? Is he going to depart to another club? It's going to be very interesting, and we're going to see and look at the potential options for him at the moment. So, Lionel Messi, he's spent his career with Barcelona and he has a clause allowing him to leave for free this summer. So that begs the question, will he leave at the end of the season, and will he go to another big European club? So Messi has spoken out against Eric Abidal after the sporting director and ex-France defender had made comments saying players were not working hard enough under former manager Ernesto Valverde. Messi responded via his Instagram account saying, "When you talk about players, you must give names, because if not, it gives air to things that aren't true." So that is what Messi said, and he's hit back at those sort of claims that players weren't working hard enough, because he feels those comments were directed at him, which I'm sure they weren't, because Messi, at times really saves Barcelona. So Ernesto Valverde was recently sacked by Barcelona whilst they were top of La Liga. He was replaced by former Real Betis manager Quique Setién. Setién has had 6 games so far in charge of the Catalan club, with 4 wins and 2 losses. That leaves Barcelona second in La Liga, 3 points behind Real Madrid in La Liga, and a worse league position than when Valverde exited the club. Messi himself was an advocate for Valverde to stay at the club. Messi has also been in the spotlight after a reported training ground bust-up with German goalkeeper Marc-Andre ter Stegen. It is said that this was only an argument, nothing physical, but tensions are really running high in the Barcelona training camp at the moment. So all of this begs the question, will the 6-time Ballon d'Or winner exit the Blaugrana in the summer? The 32-year-old has a clause allowing him to leave at the end of the season for free if he gives the club 30 days notice. With plenty of clubs interested, let's take a look at some potential destinations for the Argentinian. So let's start off with Premier League leaders Liverpool. They've been linked with Messi since all of this has come out. They are top of the Premier League by 22 points and seems to be the Premier League champions elect for the Scouse club. If Messi is going to pick a team, it could be the current European champions, admittedly. If he wants to pick from the top of the tree, currently the best club in the world statistically, and obviously winning the Club World Cup, he'll probably go to Liverpool if that's the sort of logic he's going to use. Next up, Juventus. A move to Turin would see the Barcelona icon reunite with his long-term rival Cristiano Ronaldo. They've scored a combined 1,414 career goals for club and country. Ronaldo did say in 2016 that it would be interesting to see them both play together and that the best in the world should be playing together. If Messi came in, they could see him slot in on the right wing with Dybala on the left and CR7 through the middle. So that'll be a very interesting move if Messi were to go and play with Ronaldo. Obviously everybody wants to see that. Next up, it's Manchester United. Naturally, as one of the biggest clubs in the world, they are linked with arguably the biggest player in the world. The odds are at 20-1 for him to join the Red Devils. Man United sit 8th in the Premier League, 6 points off the top 4 and Champions League football, which would obviously be a must if you have to attract to the world's best, especially Messi. He won't want to go and play in the Europa League next season. He'll want to go straight into a Champions League club, because in a bid to win another Champions League trophy. So Man United, if they are to attract Messi, or even, just a bit worse players, perhaps even if they wanted to attract Jadon Sancho, they'd need Champions League football, because Messi is not going to come and Jadon Sancho will not come if they're going to be playing in the Europa League next season. So it's a big must for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side. Paris Saint-Germain. Cavani, Kurzawa and several others are set to leave the Parc des Princes this summer. This could perhaps open up funds for Lionel Messi, but if PSG were to sign him, it would be the ultimate insult to a club they have feuded with on and off the pitch. Obviously the French club sky high in Ligue 1 at the moment, top of the league by a long way, and that would really attract Messi if he were to go. And obviously he's a big fan of Neymar. He's been an advocate for calling for Neymar to come back to Barcelona, but the board just won't have it. But Neymar, Mbappe, Messi, could you think of a better front three in the world? I don't think you could. The odds are currently at 12-1 for the French club to swoop Messi. They are the second ranked club in the running to sign the Argentinian international. Man City, one of the only clubs in Europe who could match or improve Messi's astronomical £600,000 plus per week wages. But Guardiola has come out recently and said he wishes Messi to see out his career at Barcelona. There is that obvious connection between Pep and Lionel, where Pep coached Messi at the new camp for a period spanning 4 years, winning 14 trophies in charge of the Argentine. So obviously you'd think if there's anywhere Messi's going to go, it'll be with Pep. But with Pep, as we talked about in last week's podcast of L15 Weekly, is he on the way out of there? But obviously Messi will want to play with Pep again, even if that means Pep comes back to Barcelona. But obviously you can't really ignore that they have that undeniable connection. But there is one option that we have not talked about here on this episode of Talk It Out, and that is stay at Barcelona. Yeah, I know it's a strange one, we've been through all these clubs, but the most likely one is that he will stay at Barcelona. Why not stay at the place you've scored 433 goals and 469 appearances? Why not stay at the place you've spent 16 years at? Messi's advisors have apparently said he will stick with the Blaugrana until his career has finished. It's a classic dilemma between things football fans would like to see. Would they like to see him prolong his career with Barcelona and stay there until he retires? You want to see that, but you also want to see him challenge himself and go to a new league. You want to see him play in the Premier League. You also want to see him play with Ronaldo. You want to see him play with the world's best, and you want to see him move out of La Liga and perhaps onto a different challenge. But you also, again, you can't conflict that interest with him wanting to stay and wanting to stay and prolong his career with Barcelona and stay there and help them get that European title that they so wish for. So hello, we welcome Dan from the Barcelona Podcast. Hello, how are you, Dan?
I'm doing okay. We're just getting through a pretty turbulent time at Barcelona, but everything seems to be alright.
Okay, so firstly, what do you think about Quique Setien's arrival at the club?
Well, I think with time and patience, he is a proper hire. Now, obviously, you go into it with the idea that Xavi and Ronald Koeman, he was not the first choice. Quique Setien was arguably the third or fourth choice. But I think the negative criticism he's receiving is that he's just a disciple of Cruyff and that he's so dogmatic to a certain way of playing that it's going to get results, and it's going to make results difficult, rather. But in fact, I want to say that I think he's already shown since he arrived at Barca, the first two matches when he tried the 3-5-2, and he has been much more practical in going back to a 4-3-3. And I think it's going to take time, also understanding the size of the squad. It's going to take time for him to implement his ideas, and my hope is that with a little bit of patience, that this version of Barcelona will get back to playing the way that Kool-Aid.
Yeah, and do you think Barcelona were right to sack Ernesto Valverde?
Well, it was 50-50, but I think after the loss to Liverpool is when the club should have sacked him, and I think it was just it was a show of goodwill through the dressing room, because as we know, there were players, whether it was Messi or Luis Suarez, that did support Ernesto Valverde, and I think the board and the players just continued to go on with him because it seemed impossible to think that what happened after Roma and what happened after Liverpool could potentially happen again. But the way that things were working out and the way that the team was playing, as the way that Barca, and I do mean on the field, I mean aesthetically, and just the style that they were playing, if you don't get results and play that way, things can get very negative in a hurry, and that seemed to be the way things were going. And that's why I think there was and you could tell that there was a rushed decision to let go of Ernesto Valverde.
And how has his impact at the club, this Quique Setien, how has his impact been received by the Barcelona fans?
I think people, again, are pretty excited about it, and the naysayers are the ones that go and back, and it's true, his biggest job up to this point, Lugo, Las Palmas, Real Betis, and even for Real Betis, he was playing the right way, but the results weren't really there in the second half of the season, so he gets let go anyway. And so I think this is his first big job at an older age, and you wonder, well, why didn't he have a big job earlier at the age of 61? And that would be the only that's the criticism. But again, a style of manager that fits the way that Barca wants to play. He has said many, many times he's willing to lose to La Masia, so it is one of those. It's a juxtaposition where fans say they want results, and fans also say they want La Masia players to be getting their minutes and prepare for the future. And we are reaching a juncture in the twilight of Messi's career where you might have to pick one. Unfortunately, And so it's kind of a put up or shut up moment for a lot of fans where you have to enjoy what's happening now, but you also have to understand results might not be there.
And what do you think about Messi's recent comments towards sporting director Eric Abidal?
I mean, that was just wrought with frustration from, and I think Abidal. I have seen different versions of people interpreting the interview. I think not that he misspoke, but it was certainly the wrong thing to say at the wrong time. And I don't think he meant it with the intensity that it was taken at. But I think Messi, being captain of the squad, he does speak for the other players as well. And there was certainly frustration. I mean, as players, you have to support your manager, and that's what we're supposed to be on their best behavior. So the players backed Valverde like they should have done, as any player should do for a manager in that situation. And then for Eric Abidal to come out and say the players weren't necessarily doing their job to put their weight and force behind Ernesto Valverde, and maybe they weren't trying hard enough, I can see how that struck a chord with Messi. And I think he just put that out as well. When you look at when he does speak publicly, it really is to put a bed to drama and tabloid stuff, and that certainly is not him. And if he said something that he knew would be in the papers the next day, I think that is more of a conclusion to something more than it is the beginning of more drama and more speculation.
Yes, and your final question for you, Dan, is Messi likely to leave the Camp Nou at the end of the season?
Well, I mean, I'm a host of the Barcelona Podcast. I'd be in complete denial if I said yes. But I think the answer is unequivocally no until something changes. Again, I think for Barca, there is a fear. They're almost like a harbinger of doom about Messi rather leaving the club over the summertime, or choosing to leave, or being distraught enough to try to go somewhere else. But he has said many, many, many times, and I must make sure I emphasize many on this. He has said many times that if he is going to retire with another club that is not Barcelona, he wants to go back to Argentina, most likely to Newell's Old Boys, which is his old club. And he has said that so many times where it's one of those things where I know that things can change in a hurry in sports, and people might say one thing and they might change their mind and go somewhere else, especially with, you see a lot I'm a big fan of basketball, you see a lot in the NBA where players, it is the player empowerment era, and players have the authority to leave in a way that they did not in the past. But if Messi says something enough times, we should certainly believe him. And I think this is one of those instances where he says he doesn't want to play for another European giant, especially or even another European team other than Barca. And again, I think we should believe him until he completely shocks us out of our shoes.
Okay, well, that's about all we've got time for with Dan. Dan, thank you very much for coming on. Dan is the host of the Barcelona Podcast. You can check that out with the links in the description. Thank you for coming on, Dan.
Yeah, thanks so much, Lee, for having me on.
Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Talk It Out. Thank you very much for Dan for joining us from the Barcelona Podcast. You can go and listen to that podcast with the links in the description. You can also go and follow the Barcelona Podcast on Twitter. Thank you very much for listening. You can go and drop a like on this video, and you can subscribe. You can also leave a comment on what you think we should talk about next week. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.